Okay, so we're here with Roberto Ricci from RRD, and he's just going to talk to you a little bit about the rigid thread lines, which they've been working on for some time, which are exclusive only to RRD and the new V8 bar.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'd like to actually introduce you to a part of our flying, a part of our bar, which is the most important part of the bar itself. This is the new V8 bar, which uses what we call the rigid thread lines, which is a part of the bar with accessory on the bar, which has been developed over the last 11 years and has been in production for the last 8 years. So it's an incredible improvement in terms of importance onto our into our bars, mainly because flying lines are really the most important part on your bar. It's what really connects the bar to the kite and gives you, first of all, the direct link to your power source, and secondly, it gives you a direct feeling of how the kite is actually flying in the sky, is turning, is reacting to your action with your hand on the bar. So really they are your tires on the car, basically. It's like, as long as that famous tire manufacturer was using was, power is nothing without control, and the control bar is nothing without a good flying line. So the rigid thread lines have been developed over the last 11 years and have been in production for 8 years, which means they have a great history background about reliability and functionality. What they really do is they connect your bar to the kite in a direct way. Every rigid thread line is produced in a very unique way, in a sense that first of all, these lines are produced exclusively for us only in the world by an Italian manufacturer which is specialized in fishing lines, and they have really specially and very sophisticated machinery that allows them to produce super thin fishing line down to 0.5 millimeter of thickness, which can hold a pressure about 100 kilo. So it's for fishing line that can really the fish down in the bottom of the ocean about 2,000 meters of depth, and they really have to hold an incredible amount of pressure and resistance to the currents. And thanks to that technology that they've been developing over the years, we were really able to go outside of the classic manufacturing of ropes with spectra, and we use that technology to really develop something unique. Our rigid thread lines are the only lines in the market which are basically using unidirectional fibers, pure spectra fiber or Dyneema, which connect your bar to the kite. It's basically the same as you were to compare our lines to an electric cable. All the electric cable are copper unidirectional wires. They go from one end to the other, and they're covered by a plastic film around it to get shocked. Same thing with our rigid thread lines. They have an outside sock, which is woven, it's very fine woven, where all the inside fibers, they can run in a unidirectional, so it's non-threaded. Because we found out that what the thread does is basically creating fibers that are threaded at 30 degrees of angle or 25 or even less sometimes. But regardless, a threaded line under load will always tend to actually go to the load direction. So a threaded line, which is the most classic line, or all the other bars from all the other manufacturers, will tend to actually align by the length, by the power of by the power load, basically. And what will happen, no matter how thick, how strong the lines are, when they are threaded, they will always stretch. You will tend to go for this power load. And when this happens, you will lose the trim of your bar. Sometimes you have, kites in the market where I see their, customers that fly with the bar like that, or the front line stretch more than the back line, so your kite starts to be completely depowered. And how annoying that is when you have a brand new kite and you want to use it, you go on vacation, and then your kite completely loses its own stability because it is, due to the stretch of the line. So to me, going back to the basics, the rigid thread lines today are the greatest innovation in the market that are proven to be so effective after 8 years of testing into the market. So we really have an accessory, which is not an accessory anymore, it's actually the most important part in your bar, which gives you the security of having something which doesn't stretch. So you always have your trim and the kite perfect, and at the same time you will always have a direct link to the kite. What we really have been experiencing is that our bars, when we actually try to also on other brand kites, actually the kites that we actually test with our bars, they actually perform better. So you can really have an additional value on the performance of your kite thanks to the simple use of these rigid thread lines. To me, this is the most important breakthrough in terms of performance, rather than many other innovations you can see today in the market when you're talking about bar functionality and bar development. So don't take for granted that the flying lines are there, and you see these tests sometimes that actually they test the lines for the breakage resistance. I mean, these lines, they break under 200 kilos minimum of load. And you know very well that average weight of a sailor or a kiter can be up to 100 kilograms. And if you're underwater, if you're really stuck to your board, maybe you can get up to 150 kilos of power. But before breaking a line, realistically, the line will stretch. And it's not so important to see the breakage resistance, which is the most classic test I see in a lot of magazines. The test, okay, these lines break at 300 kilos. I wonder whoever is going to be 300 kilos of fat in the water. So normally 180 to 200 kilos in each line is plenty of resistance to actually, before the breakage point. So what I say is far more important in a bar, in a flying bar, to have a flying line which does not stretch and will keep on being the same length, rather than having a flying line with a lot of fancy names, special technology, stuff like that, which will only talk about load, talking about memory, talking about stiffness, talking about same length over the year. This is what quality is all about. So don't take for granted what you see in the market out there with all this flashy news about whatever bar and innovation. It's like comparing, let's say, you have a great infotainment system on your car, and you have beautiful buttons to push on the car, whatever you can get on Facebook, on the internet while you're driving a car, and then your tires are basically slippery, and you get off the road just because your tire sucks. These are the tires of your car, and make sure that once you choose right, because when you lose a trim or you lose basically the right trim on your bar, your kite experience sucks. So in order to have bars which last in the time, and especially the trim of your kite, and you want to get the max out of your kite, this is the right choice for the future. So look into our website and check rigid thread lines. Whenever you look at the information, you will see a video which explains exactly what these lines do to improve your kiting experience. So it's really, really important to remember, rigid thread lines is an RRD exclusivity.